Hey there, Jake here from CVP. Today we are taking a look at a couple of cameras that have just had some pretty drastic price drops, the Red Komodo and Komodo-X. We've got loads of experience shooting with these cameras as we've used them both as our primary in-house cameras over the years, and these new prices make them a really interesting option for a bunch of filmmakers. The original Komodo is now £5,070 and the Komodo-X is £7,100, which means that the Komodo has dropped around £1,000 and the Komodo-X has dropped nearly £3,000. The Komodo-X price drop is probably going to be the more interesting one for filmmakers, as the Komodo-X is a serious upgrade over the Komodo and for most the better camera overall. The Komodo and Komodo-X share a massive amount, and what they do share are big parts of what make these cameras so great. First off is the Super 35 global shutter sensor that they both share, though the Komodo-X does feature architectural improvements to get better sensor and image performance overall. Having a global shutter makes the cameras great for filming in fast-paced scenarios. They are both really good in these high-action scenarios, such as when giving the camera to a fast-moving operator, mounted inside or on cars, or when panning to track action. One of the biggest reasons to grab a Red camera is their fantastic internal 16-bit RAW. The internally compressed RAW used across all of Red's current generation of cameras is excellent. Both cameras have a very similar selection of RAW compression qualities, which can actually be more efficient than something like ProRes. However, when you get the footage into post, this is where R3D really shines. In Red's own Cine-X, Premiere, Resolve or Final Cut, it performs really well, and you can easily get a really nice looking image quickly using Red's colour science, or push and pull it in Resolve to how you want it to look. The image quality that these cameras can capture is excellent, especially the Komodo-X, which definitely does have a step up in performance versus the Komodo. The images are detailed thanks to the 6K resolution of the sensor, they have good dynamic range, and the global shutter results in nice looking motion. Once processed, you can get fantastic imagery that can easily be cut alongside much larger, more expensive cinema cameras with no issue. The experience of using these cameras is quite similar between them, as their form factor, top screen, and operating system are very similar. We really like using these cameras with a monitor, Red's outrigger handle, and then a battery on the back. This results in a really nicely balanced package for handheld operation. And thanks to the small body design, it can easily be thrown onto a gimbal or rigged up for more studio or cine work with the right accessories. The screen on the top of these cameras can be used for monitoring, but it's not really big enough. It is good though to double check framing and for general operation. They are both quick to operate, have an excellent range of exposure and monitoring tools, and can be used with Red's excellent control app, which really is class leading. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to buy anything you see in this video or any other filmmaking or photography gear, head over to cvp.com where our experienced team is waiting to help you. So what are the key differences between them? Well, first off, the Komodo-X has double the frame rate options at each given resolution compared to the Komodo. Red have always been great at giving end users a fantastic range of frame rate options, and the Komodo-X still offers that. And the high frame rate footage that both of them can capture looks fantastic. Both cameras can capture a range of R3D and ProRes formats internally, but the Komodo-X can capture 4444XQ, which the Komodo cannot. The Komodo-X uses the same pogo pin layout on the top of the camera as the v-raptor. This is different to the Komodo and means that you can use the same accessories as the v-raptor, such as the DSMC3 monitor, which works really well with the Komodo-X and won't work with the Komodo. This is a pretty big plus for the Komodo-X, as this monitor paired with it is excellent. Though you can of course get a camera controlled monitor a bit more affordably by using something like the Portkeys BM5. When it comes to connectivity, the original Komodo is quite limited with just an EXT, 12G SDI and DC input. The Komodo-X has a USB-C port for connecting to your phone, for control or streaming, a 12G SDI, a 3.5mm headphone out port, 5-pin LEMO for audio accessories, a 9-pin EXT for expanding the camera's I/O further, and lastly, a more robust DC power input. So obviously the Komodo-X's I/O is much more fleshed out, which makes it being used as an A camera much easier. The Komodo-X features a locking version of Canon's RF mount, whereas the Komodo's is a regular one like you'd find on a Canon mirrorless camera. This means that the Komodo-X handles larger lenses much better and has less movement in the mount, which is really crucial for video and cine applications. The Komodo-X also has improved internal flocking in the mount, which should help reduce internal reflection issues which can occur with certain lenses and adapters. There are also a few more specific things that the Komodo-X has and the Komodo doesn't, such as expanded shutter control, 1080p wireless video whereas the Komodo's is limited to 720p, improved pre-record time, massively improved black shading speed, and PTP, which is IP-based genlock. It also has generally improved processing, which should allow Red to add new features that the Komodo may not get. The Komodo is still an excellent entry point into Red's ecosystem, and when you get it rigged up the way you like, it's an absolute joy to use and can produce fantastic images. It can easily be a good camera for solo operators or be used for lightweight configurations such as a gimbal, drone, or hard-mounted action scenarios thanks to its incredibly small size. The Komodo-X is a nice step between the Komodo and Red's v-raptor line, and I think the better camera for most people. This includes solo operators and people just generally needing an A camera. Its improved frame rates, more inputs and outputs, integrated V-lock battery plate, and a bump in image quality does make it a nice middle ground for people needing these improvements and features without the budget needed to look at the v-raptor series. And now that it's even closer to the Komodo in price, I think it's worth the extra over the Komodo. The common perception of Red cameras is that you need loads of extra accessories to get them up and shooting. And while that certainly has been the case in the past, that's not necessarily true with these cameras. You can easily just chuck a card in, a battery on the back, and some kind of handle, and shoot using the built-in monitors or a phone mounted onto the camera using the Red Control app. However, a normal SDI monitor is definitely worth using if you can. And because these cameras have been available for a while now, there's tons of accessories where you can rig it up if you need to as well. You may be thinking that the Komodo could work out cheaper than the Komodo-X, but if you want to use V-mount with the original Komodo, you'll need to add a couple of £100 for a battery plate. Media for the Komodo-X is actually cheaper as the Komodo uses CFast 2 and the Komodo-X uses CF Express Type B. 1TB worth of Red approved CF Express Type B will be about £300, whereas a 1TB CFast 2 card will run you closer to £700. When buying multiple cards, this will add up fast, and CF Express Type B is the better, faster, more modern media type. If you want the improved I/O of the Komodo-X with the original, you will have to add some kind of breakout box depending on what you need. So if you try to match the functionality of the Komodo-X, they can actually work out to be very similarly priced, but you may not need to add all this onto the Komodo, of course. If you want to get some more advice on rigging up your camera, don't hesitate to get in contact with us, or even book a demo at our central London showroom, where you can rig up your camera with one of our technical consultants on hand to make sure your rig is tailored exactly to your needs. We have access to pretty much every camera out there, and we still use the Komodo-X as our primary studio camera. For our type of shooting, it works really well. We can get really good looking images very quickly and process them in post fast while retaining fantastic image quality. For people wanting a camera for more controlled work, fans of manual focus, and people wanting a step up in image quality over other mirrorless camera options, these cameras are a great choice. We've covered a lot of Red's current ecosystem in some of our previous videos, so if you want to learn more about any of their cameras, including the original Komodo and Komodo-X, I've made a little playlist with everything we've made related to Red in the description below. Anyway, let us know what you think of these price drops, and if you have any further questions down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please give it a like, and maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss out on our awesome upcoming content. And thank you so much for watching.